And we are live. What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of The Richest Steve in Atlanta. I'm your host, Stevie Steve. We are on episode number 28. At you with another great episode. So make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Y'all, as y'all see, I am back home from my European tour. I'm so happy to be home. I just got back Monday. So it feels good to be back at home, and I call this my little studio. You feel me? My little side office. Europe was great. I was in Sweden. I was in Italy. I went to Greece. All that stuff. We was up in there, y'all. We was up in there. But y'all are in for a great show. Oh, y'all, they calling it the Trap Studio. Come on, man. This ain't no Trap Studio. Big Win. What's up, Big Win? You feel me? In here with the richest Steve, man. Big Win in the building, y'all. We in the Trap Studio. That is crazy. Y'all really think this is a Trap Studio, man? I know I ain't got it all built up, but I done came a long way. We used to only have a bed in here. Now at least it got a comforter on it. But yeah, y'all here for a great show. We got John Cena giving us some financial advice. Then we got You Don't Need a Credit Card. And we're going to end it off with habits that are holding you back from reaching your financial freedom. Like I said, it's going to be a great show. So make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment as we're going to get straight into this thing. I don't want to waste no time going into our first topic. John Cena giving financial advice. Y'all know who John Cena is, WWE superstar. I look up to John Cena, you feel me? He done did it right. He done been able to move over a whole entertainment aspects from wrestling to starring in feature films now. He really did it up. And John Cena has always come off as someone who's very intellectual and thinks through the decisions that he makes in life. So he was at Club Shay Shay, you feel me, with Shannon Sharp. And Shannon Sharp asked him a few financial questions. And John Cena gave us his best financial advice. So let's go ahead and get right on into it.
You're big in the stock market. You like to invest. So what was some of the best advice that you've received and some of the best advice that you've given people to help them be able to do what you've done, John?
Are all over the map, and I love this. This is great. This is great. Don't spend beyond your means.
Okay.
I think that is important to.
Is that easier said than done?
Yes. Yes, because of a lot of things. But I'll trim it,
Okay.
Make it easy. Don't spend what you don't have, and try to spend less than you have so you can save a little bit.
Okay.
Don't carry debt, because, and I know that's not a universal thing, because there are many people who would advocate when the percentage of debt is low, carrying debt's good because I can beat the percentage in other investments.
Right.
I'm just afraid one day they're going to call the margin and I don't have the money.
Right.
So I tend to not want to owe anyone anything.
Mhm.
That way, all tabs are square at the end of the business day.
Correct.
Don't spend more than you have. Don't carry any bad debt. And be accountable. I think that's, and know who you are.
Let me cover those first two real quick before we go any farther. Don't spend more than you have. Come on now. That's a simple one. This is why everybody living paycheck to paycheck and picking up bad debt. Number one and number two go hand in hand like no other. Everyone's out here living paycheck to paycheck because they got a whole bunch of bad debt that you can't afford. Let's be real. Let's be real. You have to live within your means. We have so many people, houses they can't afford, cars you can't afford, going on vacations you can't afford, living a lifestyle that you can't afford, trying to flex for everybody, getting clothes you can't afford, getting jewelry you can't afford. Like, come on. Come on. We are too over leveraged at this point. It makes no sense. And then with that comes you picking up all that bad debt because you got to pay for it somehow, unless you scamming. Y'all know we is in Atlanta. So you could be scamming your way through it. I see how y'all doing it out here in Atlanta. Scammers United out here on some crazy stuff. But John Cena, he came out the bat telling us, man, you got to get it together. It's no reason you should be living paycheck to paycheck out here. You just got to live within your means. Let them know, Cena.
If you're someone who wants to get rich quick, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Understand the math behind that. Talk to a venture capitalist and ask them how many of their assets fail. A venture capitalist will invest in 400 companies, hoping one survives.
That's
There's
all they
yield
need.
from one. So if you're at home with your $100 and you want to get rich quick, you got to take that $100, somehow bet on 400 companies,
Right.
and hope one hits. But if you push it all into one, you are locked into that hook, line, and sinker. So I think know who you are as an investor.
Mhm.
Dude, I try to be safe. My stuff is the most unsexy shit you'll ever talk about. And people always are like, man, this thing's going to smoke. It's going to be great. Good for you.
Yeah.
And I'm also okay with the success of others.
You good with T-bills, huh?
Man, I like this club. Can I get one of those fancy lockers here? This is a good, so know who you are.
Yeah.
And I think keeping up with the person next to you is a bad idea. Just always try to have a good balance sheet. Look at your books. Look at where you want to be. And look at what you spend, look at what you earn, look what you spend it on.
Right.
I think getting out of the habit of spending more than you make, that right there changes the dynamic of everything. If you have enough money to begin saving money, holy shit, you are beating the game. If you have no debt and can put money away, you're ahead.
What's John's best purchase?
Let them know, Cena. Know who you are. A lot of people don't even know who they are when it comes to the money aspect. And the reason you don't know who you are when you come to that money is because you ain't got a budget. He told you in there, write it down. That way you can see where your money going in and out. Stop trying to be somebody who you're not. I know for me, 100%, y'all would never see me flexing clothes. You would never see me out here buying all these expensive Jordans and doing all that stuff because that's just not who I am. Wearing a lot of designer stuff, that's not who I am. I'm not trying to live up to that, period. I know who I am. I could be out here, flexing some new jewelry or something. Flexing the new Jordans. Flexing an expensive shirt, you feel me? Go out to the designer spots, but that's just not who I am. So I'm not going to spend my money on that. We're not trying to live up to somebody else's expectations out here. And you shouldn't be trying to do that neither. Do things for you. That's why you need to be living within your means. And it starts with a budget. You need to write down how your money moves, where your money's going, and knowing what type of investor you are. Like I said, I am also a very slow investor. I think I move slow. I want to move slow. I'm not really interested in making a lot of fast money because when you're moving fast, it's a lot of mistakes that really do come from it. There are certain ways to move quicker, but getting fast money, like we're doing some day trading and stuff. First off, I don't want to learn everything that comes with day trading. And second, when I look at the people who do it, it's a lot more people who lose a lot of money. They may gain a lot, but they also lose a lot at the same time. I don't want to be a part of that game. That's not the type of investor I am at all. So I'm not even going to play that game. And Cena will tell you, he's looking at it the right way. 100%. You got to, when you're not living paycheck to paycheck, it makes your life a whole lot easier. And you'll be a whole lot happier too, as well, because you're not worried. You're not as worried about, how am I actually going to pay my bills, because you're not living the paycheck to paycheck. You got a little extra in there. Come on, Cena.
And his worst purchase.
Worst purchase. Oof. Man, I made a ton of bad purchases. Bad purchases would have to be cars. A lot of bad cars. I have lost so much money on cars. And that's another thing. Be okay with your failures.
Right.
I love cars. It's a passion. I don't do it to make money. So I lose money on it because it's a passion.
Right.
I remember when I started making money, my worst purchase is I because I didn't want to spring for a Lamborghini.
Right.
So I bought a fake one.
Oh my goodness. How do you buy a fake Lambo?
I found a way to do it.
So we had a Lambo body with a Ford engine?
A BMW V12. And I was like, yeah, let's get it. I was a young, this is like 2000, this is 2003. I found a company that would do it. They put a V12 in it. I'm like, man, it's the same thing. It looks pretty good. Like, it looks great. Yeah, I'll buy it. They tried to stiff me out of the car. I had to ask some friends who knew how to find things to go and find things. I then had to get a title for the car, of which I did. The car finally shows up after 2 years from me waiting. It doesn't go into gear. The motor is held together with the timing of 2 Chevy V6s. So everything's confused. Nothing runs. The car is not roadworthy. So I sent it to a shop. This is 2005. I just got the keys to that car a week ago.
What?
Dang.
A week ago. I sent it to 10 shops. I finally found somebody to do it. They did it tip to tail. And I will tell you, it looks great. But I can honestly say I have the cost, and the collectible Lamborghini market is thriving.
You're right.
I have the cost of about a real roadster and a half into this kit car.
You could have just bought a brand new one.
I could have bought 2, sawed one in half, and this 1.5 cars to be like, yeah, this is it. This is, yeah. But that was a lesson to be like, hey, if you take shortcuts, you're going to get what you pay for.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my takeaway from that. Right. And also, like, I don't regret it because I have a takeaway.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process, I met a whole lot of shady shop owners, which are great, which allows me to feel good about a good shop owner when I meet a good mechanic and someone who can do honest work. So there's a lot of good takeaways from that. But as far as like statistics, boy, I got my ass whipped on that. Best purchase? Shit, my wife's engagement ring.
Hey, Cena, I feel that. My worst purchase. It's not my car. I know y'all think that's something that I just got would be my car. My worst purchase is a habit that I have of where I feel like in some moments I get generous with a certain aspect that's not the best aspect to be generous in. And to me, my worst purchase, I continue to do this, y'all, is when I purchase a bottle of liquor for everyone to drink and enjoy. A lot of times, I've been doing this for years. I've been doing it for years. And I feel like, I don't just feel like it's I don't get the recognition or something from doing that. That's not what I want. But I just don't think it's the best use of my money. That's why it's the worst purchase. And I literally just did this recently. I've done this recently. And I probably will, honestly, I feel like I'm going to end up doing it again. It's a habit I have of I just want everyone to have a good time. And I mean, I do this before I'm drinking or drunk. I do it sober. Like I buy a bottle for everyone here. No one else putting in. And I've been doing this forever. If I was to add up the amount of times where I bought a bottle just for enjoy everyone, I would have some stats back. Because I've been doing it for years. I was doing it when I wasn't making money. And of course, when I started making money, it's even more. That's probably my worst purchase, I feel like. And it's just because I don't think that I gain a lot from it. And it's a horrible use of my money. And it's a horrible use of time sitting there. I don't think it's a horrible use of time when you're enjoying your friends. But sitting there drinking, getting drunk, doing the belligerent stuff and all that. Yeah, that's when it's a now. And my best purchase so far, I think the purchase I've been the happiest, honestly, to make was my car, which is something crazy to say. And I would say that just because it's the joy that it brings me every time I get back in that car. And seeing where I come from, that is the payment I gladfully make every time I make it. I haven't yet, and I've had it for about 6 months. I ain't had that car no 6 months. I've had it what? May, June, July, August. I done had it almost 6 months. About 6 months. Every time I've made that payment, I haven't felt bad. Even paying the insurance on top of that, I haven't felt bad. I haven't paid that not one time where I felt bad. That's one of my best purchases, and another one of my best purchases is every time I pay down my student loans. I feel great about that every time. So those are the places where I spend my money that I feel happy with, my car, my student loans. And the places where I feel like have been the worst is when I spend it on liquor for recreation for everybody to enjoy themselves outside of, buying it just for me. That's my best and that's my worst. With that, I want to say thank you, John Cena. You feel me? For giving us that advice. I feel like people need to hear this. People need to hear that. Just as simple and as quick as you gave it to them, telling them you are over leveraged, guys. Stop being so over leveraged. Like, get out of it. Get to a point where you're not living paycheck to paycheck, where you don't have all this bad debt that you're carrying over. It just doesn't make any sense, y'all. We have got to get to a place where we are more financially savvy with the things that we buy, with the way that we do things, and you need to start with a budget. I'm not getting paid for this, but I still tell y'all the Every Dollar app automates it like no other. So go tap into that. Go tap into the Every Dollar app, and it will make your whole situation easy. As 1, 2, 3, it's all automated. Go tap into that. And I'm not even getting paid to tell y'all to get this app. That's just how influential having a budget on your life will be. Thank you, John Cena. Even though we couldn't see him his whole interview, you feel me? I thought Shannon was talking to a chair. We couldn't see him at all, but hey, great stuff, great tips. Anybody can use it. And with that, make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment as we move right into our next topic of the day. You don't need no credit card. We just talked about how y'all be carrying over bad debt and being over leveraged. A lot of the reason why is because you have a credit card that you don't need. You carrying over your statement week to week, not week to week, month to month, carrying over your statement. You buying things on that credit card that you can't afford, i.e. vacations, clothes, food. Yeah, I know some of y'all be going out for expensive dinner, putting on your credit card, and you cannot afford it. I hope y'all fellas ain't taking these ladies on no date using your credit card and you can't afford it. That's definitely a losing asset. Out there taking them for dinner. They putting you as food guy. You going into debt for it on your credit card. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Save these people. Save them. Anyway, Ayo from the table, you feel me? He is explaining why you don't need a credit card. Why y'all don't need a credit card. We ain't gonna waste too much more time with this. We gonna get straight into it with Ayo at the table. Why you don't need a credit card?
You gotta admit that you actually have an issue. You have to admit that you have credit card debt. You have to admit that your credit score doesn't mean crap if you don't have any money in your bank account, because ignoring it won't make it go away. Okay, it's ignoring it and just paying the minimum payment. It's not going to make it go away. No, you got to face this thing head on. And I mean this. You have to look at this thing and say, you know what? You got to pull your credit report. Okay, let's be real. Let me get closer to you. You got to pull your credit report. You got to pull anything and everything that you need to look at. And you need to say, you know what? How much money do I have in credit cards? I got $35,000 in credit card debt alone.
Yeah.
That's an issue.
That's an issue.
That's an issue.
That's an issue.
I'm paying. And then here's what I really want you to do. When you look at your credit card statement, when you pull your credit report and see how much you owe on credit card debt, the next thing is when it comes to admitting the issue and facing it head on, I want you to really get deep. I want you to pull your credit card statement and look at how much interest you're paying every single month on top of your credit card. I want you to look at how much money you're blowing away, how much money you're giving to Wells Fargo, which is two families. How much money are you giving to their family to help pay for their legacy building and robbing from your family? Oh, I'm starting early right now, and I got 8 more points to get to. Oh, my goodness. You're paying other people for their wealth, and you're robbing from your wealth potential. Because we should be receiving interest payment. We shouldn't be paying out interest. I get it, Anthony. I like the points. Man, I'm with you. Trust me.
Man, before he even get into the points, he is spitting. And he gave y'all an exercise to use. Has anybody using exercises to see your financial history? What you need to do is the perfect thing every time that you need to be doing. Forget pulling your credit report to see all of it. Go to your credit card app. I know y'all got your banking app on your phone that show how much debt you're in. I know y'all got that. So I know y'all see it. And you just paying the minimum every single month, thinking that you're doing something. When in reality, you are paying interest on that bucket of debt that you have in that credit card. And I know y'all APRs is out the roof because y'all ain't got no good credit like that. I know y'all APR out the roof. I know it is. That's how much interest you paying. I done seen some crazy interest. You know, they start like 14, then they go up like the 20 some, then they go up to 28, 32. When I first got a credit card, they sent me one. They said 32. I mean, y'all listen. I didn't even know what the APR was. I just knew it said 32% APR. They switch it so that you don't understand the language on it. APR is how much interest you pay if you let that statement carry on a whole nother month. They are robbing you of wealth if you let that bucket carry over. That's just point period blank. Point period blank. You are getting robbed of everything you have just so that you could pay for that clothes. Come on now. Y'all know y'all did clothes, vacation. Your vacation already expensive as it is. Do you want to go pay 32% extra on that just so that you can 32% APR extra on that? Just so that you don't have to pay it off now. You can go enjoy and live your best life. Come on. Come on. That's why you tight in your pockets. That's why you living paycheck to paycheck. That's why you can't save up anything because it's all being spilt out. And you owe so much more than what you started because once you start going down that route, y'all know it, you have to put in more effort to get out. Once you start going out, you have to put in more effort to get out. So if you don't start in the first place, or you need to start digging your way out that pit immediately. Immediately. Like he said, you giving all your generational wealth right on over to somebody else. Just because it was so much easier to use that credit card than it was to actually save up for that trip. If you would have did it the right way, saved up, you would have paid a lot less for that trip. In the long run, if you want to be financially savvy and all that, you would save. You would have some delayed gratification to get the thing that you want. That's the thing. When interest is put on top of it, you have to pay on it. That's the biggest thing when it came with my car. It was the interest that I hate that I just had. I needed a car, so I said I might as well get something I want. You feel me? I had to get a car. My car shut down the transmission all the way out. I would have had to pick up interest on anything that I paid. But hey, if I can afford this car, I'm gonna go get it and I'm gonna knock it out. However I knock it out. But for your everyday life using this credit card, you need to cut it up. You need to cut it up. Come on, AO, let's continue.
I love points too, but I don't love points. I do not want points at the cost of my financial future. Because here's the truth, and I'm going to be honest with you, and a lot of you are going to get upset when I say this, but I love you. You're a part of the family, and thank you so much for watching this show, but you're not mature enough to have a credit card. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You don't gotta be sorry.
98% of us in America today are not mature enough for us to have credit. I went to Dubai. They pay things for cash. America's one of the only systems that live off of a credit score, but you got other people who are wealthy, who are making just as much money as you and I, and they don't borrow money. So a credit score is not the end all be all. We have a problem and we need to address it. And that's the very first thing you have to do. Pull your credit report, look at what's going on, how many credit cards you have, which you should know because they're in your wallet, they're in your purse. Then I want you to pull up every credit card statement that you have, add up the balance. I want that balance to sit right there in the smack center so you can see it every single day. Then I want you to see how much money you're paying in interest, how much money you're robbing from your future, from your family, so that you can have credit cards.
It's not so they can have credit cards, AO. It's so that they can go on that vacation, so that they can get that lobster for dinner. You feel me? So they can get that purse, so they can get them fresh pair of Jordans. That's why they willing to rob the future, just so they can have that stuff, man. That's why. In the points aspect, oh Lord, points ain't even worth it if you get knocked across the head. People don't understand how to use credit cards. People don't understand how to use that, man. Need to cut them up. Not mature enough. I agree. AO. Not mature enough to use them. And you're able to get them as soon as you go to college. They attack a lot of people when they go to college. Tell them, ooh, you can get this. We'll give you $1,000. We gonna give you $1,000. Go out and spend it however you want. Only thing you don't know is that we gonna knock you across the head when it comes time for you to pay. Because we done put this high APR on it, because you ain't got no credit history. We can't really trust you. But we'll give you this little money and let you start out going down the wrong path. Hit you every month with this APR. Get some money off this broke college student that don't know nothing. And then they'll carry it through the rest of their life because we done got them in the system. So yeah, having a credit card will be, regular for them. Spending that minimum will be regular for them. Paying this interest will be regular for them. They won't even suspect it. They will be regular for them. And that's the problem, y'all. That is a huge problem that we have right now. Crazy problem that we have.
So that's number one. You got to admit it, admit the issue, and you got to face it head on. Here's number two. You got to stop using credit cards. Listen, we can't pay off the credit card debt. We can't. If you keep tackling and racking up more debt. No, man, listen, check this out right here. Cut them up. Oh my God. If I cut the credit cards up, that's going to hurt my credit score. Who cares?
You got bad credit anyway.
Who cares? You're more worried about a 3-digit score on a sheet of paper that's not even ran by the government, it's ran by a private entity, than you are having financial freedom. What's going on, family?
They are, AO. They are, AO. For sure. I think folks need to get rid of them too. I'm going to keep mine. I've had credit cards for 3-4 years now. And not one time have I ever carried over a balance. Not one time. in the 24 months that I've had a credit card. No, it ain't 24. It ain't 24. That's 36. That's 36. In the 36 months that I've had a credit card, I've never gone over that statement date. Never carried over. I've never got hit with APR one time that I've had a credit card. And it's strictly because I don't spend more than I have. That just is what it is. Not one time. So like AO said, you might need to go cut up that credit card. Go get rid of it. You can't tackle the debt if you keep getting more debt. There's no way you can do that. If y'all know a way, let me know. If you know a way, let me know, and then we'll figure it out.
Market. Yes, in today's time, having a bad credit score is it kills you. It hurts you for sure. And I gotta stop saying a credit score doesn't mean anything, because I have a credit score. Actually, I have a high credit score because I have real estate, but that's the only thing on my credit report. That's why I have a high credit score. But when you look at, my actual credit, I'm actually not really credit worthy because I only have one line trade on there, which is real estate. That's it. So for what I'm telling you is, yeah, you got to cut them credit cards, man. Let me go on record and say this. I believe that there are 2% of the people in the world, and watch this, all in the comments, I'm one of the 2%, I'm one of the 2%, I'm one of the 2%. No, you ain't. The majority of you all, 98%, has been proven by the credit card companies that 98% of the people do not pay off the credit card every single month. They just can't. They can't.
I don't like to be part of that group, but I'm that 2%. Ayo, I'm part of that 2%, man. Come on. I'm telling you, I'm part of that 2%. I ain't never carried over, not one time. In the 36 months that I done had this card, I've never carried over. Cards with an S. Never carried over. I ain't had a reason to. Since I had them cards, I have not over leveraged myself, man. I have not. So I know you want to say, hey, if you part of that 2%, good for you. But I know, like he said, some of y'all capping though. Some of y'all is gonna cap. You didn't carry it over before. I ain't never carried over, y'all. In the 36 months, I've never carried over. And I know some of y'all have carried over. It's okay. It's always time to you can always change, you feel me? Can always change. Maybe start with cutting up the card. You ain't mad, maybe not close the account, but cut up the card so you can't use it. Take it out of your wallet so you can't use it. Don't get on us like that, AO. I'm part of that 2%.
Can't. We tend to spend more money when we have a credit card, and then when it's time to make that payment and we see what all we spent, we're like, wait a minute, I can't pay all that. Let me just pay the minimum balance. Then we get comfortable paying the minimum balance. Now our balances are not changing because we're paying 20% in interest, but we're only making a small payment of $50, but we owe $15,000, $20,000 on the credit card. It doesn't make sense. We cannot get out of credit card debt if you are continuing to rack up the debt on your credit cards. Bottom line, in the words of the general himself, Dave Ramsey, cut them craps. That's bad grammar. That's bad grammar. Cut that crap up. Cut it up. You are not mature. If you are in the 2%, hey man, I'm rocking with you. Totally understand. I'm not even hating you. But the majority of you all who are going to go in the comments and say I am, you're not. Let's stop capping. Here's number 3. After we acknowledge the problem and we cut up the credit cards, we got to start generating some extra money. When I say generate extra money, here's something that I really, 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 really want you to understand, right? Is that when you start generating extra money, it creates margin. And with that margin, right, is our wealth building tool once we have no debt. But margin, right, is the tool that we're using to pay off our debt. So margin in first stages helps you pay off debt. The margin in the next stage helps you get a fully funded emergency fund. Then margin in the next stage is invested into real estate, stock market, etc., to help you build wealth. So what we got to do, number 3, is we got to get some extra money, aka some margin in our room, in our resources, financial resources. So right now we can eliminate the credit card debt, then go over to get us a fully funded savings account, then go over to wealth building. But right now, how can we get extra money?
Before he go into that, create margin in my life has made a 1,000 times difference in how I live my day-to-day life. Like I told y'all, I don't live paycheck to paycheck at all with anything. I have money left over every month. What do I do with that? That's why I'm able to pay off my student loans. That margin, that's why I'm able to have a car payment. That's why I'm able to pay that insurance on there. Margin is the most ridiculous thing. Once you have that margin and you see it, I'm not spending this money. Holy, I'm not living paycheck to paycheck anymore. I have money to the side that I can do stuff with, that I can invest in the stocks, that I can pay off debt, that I can save up to go on a vacation. Having that margin in your life, it changes the way you start thinking about money, 100%. And when he said, get more money to make that margin, that can come totally different ways. One way that you can create margin, the snowball method. These minimum payments that y'all have to pay every single month to get those off, to get that debt so that you can carry it over. When you don't have to make that anymore, that's a bigger chunk of money you have to roll into doing something else with. That's how you start creating all your margins. You create all your margins like that. Stop spending money on stuff that you can't afford. Margin. Budget. Or you can do like they say, go get a side job. Go get a side job, work a little harder. If you a male, what they say, you should be working like 60 hours a week anyway. You should be putting in extra work anyway. So there's ways out here to create that margin. And I'm telling you, the place to start is in your own pocketbook. See where you're spending your money at. Maybe you don't need to go out to the club and buy a section every weekend. Maybe you don't have to go out and hang with your friends every time they try to hang out so that you can go out with them to a spot, to the bar, and then you end up spending money on your hookah and on a couple of drinks. The next thing you know, you done spent over $100 on this night out. It's a whole bunch of ways to create margin. A lot of them. You just need to be more financial savvy within your own budget, and you can definitely make it happen.
How can we get extra money? Let me tell you something. My team and I, man, we've had the opportunity to generate millions of dollars from YouTube. Millions of dollars just from utilizing YouTube, from utilizing podcasts, from taking my passion, my message, my journey, and going and sharing this message on YouTube. It's been such a blessing to share my story, share my journey, share what God has given me. I started it on the side. Now it's my full-time income. And over the last just 3 years, we've been able to capitalize on an extra 600,000 people just on YouTube alone. Another 150,000 on podcasts, another 200,000 on our email list, 450,000 or 420 something thousand on my Instagram. 400 on my Facebook. We got a total of about right around 2 million people. And I'm so grateful that have followed us because of the power of YouTube. And if you're looking for some extra income, there are some things that you can do from home that you don't have to go drive for Uber or drive for DoorDash. You can make an extra $1,000, $5,000 a month from home simply by sharing your story, your journey, your passion with people on YouTube. You can be a single mother. How did you raise, 3 kids on your own? You can talk about that. You could be, a therapist, or you can have, a passion for mental therapy. You can talk about that on YouTube. You don't have to be an expert, because I'm not an expert. I can't sit here and say that I'm an expert because I'm not Dave Ramsey. I'm not a Robert Kiyosaki. I'm not these other people. I'm just simply sharing the things that I've learned with my money, with my mistakes, and I'm sharing those lessons. And as I'm learning, I'm continuing to share. And as I'm evolving and growing, I'm doing that. So y'all call me an expert. I call myself a student because I'm.
Hey, we appreciate you, AO. We appreciate you for sure. That was some good stuff. Well, you gotta let them know that they don't need no credit card. And you can make up that margin in a lot of ways. He's did it. The YouTube play, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I've been doing YouTube for 3 years. I ain't made a dime yet. But that's okay. We getting there. It's a grind. It's a grind. But yeah, he's right. You could come on YouTube and just share your story. That's a way to get a little extra money in your pocket. Once you get there, it's a little grind. It's a little bit, I feel like it's easier said than done with the YouTube stuff. But there's plenty of other things that you can do from home to get you extra cash, to get your margin just a little bigger, to get it a little bigger. Y'all need to make sure that you is cutting up them credit cards, though. Go ahead and cut it up. Throw it in the trash. Do it right. You need to first admit that you have a problem with that credit card before you cut it up. Admit that you had that problem. Then you can go see all your little statements and start tackling that stuff, and then get you a margin in there. That way you can tackle that credit card debt. Hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Let a lot of people know just in their daily lives, like what you need to cut this. Y'all need to cut this out. Cut it out. Over leveraged. Over leveraged, man. It's just a lot of over leveraged out here. And we, at this point, when you got a whole bunch of debt, especially credit card, you just willingly giving money away. Willingly giving it away. Like it ain't nothing. It's tough. It is tough. I will say that is a very tough thing. To just willingly be like, hey, I can throw it out. Just throw it in the bag. Pay it on off. I hope y'all take from what AO just said. And really take into consideration the money that you are just giving away having your credit card. We need to have a party called Cut It Up, where folks come together and they just cut up their credit cards. Because at the end of the day, you don't need it. And with that, make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment as we move right on into our last topic of the day. Habits that are holding you back from financial freedom. A lot of us have habits that are holding us back from financial freedom, but I found a video from Ali Abdah. I don't know if y'all know who he is. He does a lot of productivity help for people, finding time in your day, productivity and self-development, just to help people find time in their day to actually do some self-development. He gives you principles that will actually help you in your life. We're not going to waste too much time. Let's go ahead and get straight into it with Ali Abdul. Habits holding you back from reaching financial freedom. Let's get it.
All right, so in this video, we're going to be talking about 3 bad habits that could potentially be holding you back from getting to financial freedom. Now, if you're new here, hi, my name is Ali. I'm a doctor turned entrepreneur. And for the last 7 years, I've been documenting the journey on this YouTube channel starting off as a medical student, making videos, helping students study for exams, and eventually building a business to the point where I am financially free. Now, for me, that journey has been very long and very windy, and I've been trying to get to financial freedom for the last 15 years, and it took me maybe 12 years to get to the point of financial freedom. So I'm hoping that by watching this video and the other videos on my channel where we talk about this stuff, you're able to shortcut that process. So we're going to talk about 3 bad habits that are potentially holding you back. But before we do that, let's talk about how should we even think philosophically about what financial freedom is and how do we get there. All right, so what is financial freedom? Well, I really like Professor Scott Galloway's definition, which is financial freedom is when your passive income exceeds your burn rate, i.e. there is more money coming in without you having to do stuff than there is money that you are spending. This means that if you want to be financially free, you've kind of got 2 levers to play with. You can increase the amount of passive income you have coming into your life, or you can decrease the amount of money that you're spending. And ideally, you would do some sort of combination of the 2 things. And you probably won't want to retire and just not do anything, because that gets boring after a while. And then people who retire get depressed and have heart attacks and stuff. But you'll have the freedom and the ability to do what you want, when you want, with whom you want. And you will probably realize that you want to do work of some sort, but you'll have the freedom to choose what sort of work you're actually doing. And that's really the true value of financial freedom. So that then sort of begs the question, how do you arrive at this point of financial freedom where you're increasing your passive income and that passive income is greater than your costs? Well, based on this equation, we can basically see that there are 2 levers you can pull. You can decrease your costs or you can increase your passive income. Now, broadly, there are actually 2 paths to this. MJ DeMarco, in his book, The Millionaire Fast Lane, which is a good book, says there's the slow lane path and then there is the fast lane path. And even fast lane, for the record, he defines as being about 10 years long. So that's considered fast in this world. So the slow lane path is where you have a job and your job generates income. And then you put that income into savings or into investments or into slowly buying out a property every now and then, or maybe putting it in a stock market index fund like the S&P 500. And eventually you use what's called the 4% rule, which is that let's say you end up having £1 million in the S&P 500, which is a stock market index fund. You can withdraw 4% of that safely every year without touching the principal. So your passive income in that case would be 40K per year. Now, if you can live on less than 40K per year, inflation adjusted, etc., now you are financially free because your passive income has exceeded your lifestyle costs. This is the slow lane path. This takes a very long time to get there. And there is an alternative approach. The alternative approach is the fast lane path. And the fast lane path is where you really figure out, can I build some sort of asset or can I build some sort of business? The slow way of getting to financial freedom is by having a job and by saving and investing well and doing that over a very long period of time. The faster way, which still probably takes about 10 years, is to build some sort of asset or to build some sort of business. And so in this video, I really want to focus on this fast lane approach. There are other videos, and we might do one in the future, that is aimed at people where the goal is, you know what, I just want to have a job and I want to put aside 20% of my income into investments, and 20 years from now, I will then be financially free. To me, that doesn't hold much appeal because I don't really want to be financially free when I'm 50. I'd like to be financially free when I'm 30 or 35 or 28 or 25 or 23 or whatever the thing might be. Really, I'd like to be financially free as soon as possible because then I'm able to use my time, which is my most valuable non-renewable resource, on things that I actually want to use my time on rather than necessarily on my day job, which if I was able to design my life however I wanted, chances are I wouldn't do the day job that I'm currently doing. So the goal really is the fast lane approach to financial freedom. How do we build an asset or business that boosts our passive income while keeping our lifestyle costs reasonably low so that we can get to this equation for financial freedom? And so in this video, I want to talk about 3 bad habits that are holding you back from this fast lane approach and hold a lot of people back. The first one.
Before he gets into that, what is financial freedom? We got to start with financial freedom is definitely different for everyone. It can't be all cookie cutter, you feel me? So that's just straight off the jump. For me, I would like to say my financial freedom at this point, I would feel financially free when I don't owe any money, when I'm debt free. I will feel like I've reached a level of financial freedom because I don't owe anyone anything. I could wake up tomorrow and you feel and lose a lot of stuff, but still, because I don't owe anybody anything, I would still be at a better spot than a lot of y'all who are living paycheck to paycheck and you have to pay somebody. That would just be my first level of financial freedom. After that, it would be having so much income that I don't have to depend on somebody else, having a job to make money. And I will have my own business, maybe some real estate. It's just that I don't have to depend on a job to get money in my day-to-day life. That would be the second step for me. And number 3 would be having all the systems in place and everything's just running without me. That is the highest level, and I do anything that I want to. That would be the highest level of financial freedom for me. And I'm still working on that first step of financial freedom. You know, I'm still working on it. But I think I'll reach there very soon. Soon is relative to what I think, at least before I'm 30. If I reach that goal, I will be happy as all get out. Being able to create some. By 30, I want to be working definitely on step 2. Working on step 2. But financial freedom for everyone is different. And in this example, he decided to say, you know, it's passive, having more passive income than your cost is. And that margin, to me, that margin in between would be the financial freedom. And there's a way on both sides that you can turn that to where you have more passive income and you have less cost. So let's continue on with the first point, the first habit that is holding you back from financial freedom.
What's the first one? All right, so let's talk about bad habit number 1. Now, if we understand this equation, we know that the goal is to build some sort of asset that gives us enough passive income such that we can feel financially free. And the way we do this is a skill. It is a skill. It is not luck. Of course, luck is involved, as with everything in life, but the ability to build businesses and assets is a skill. If you were to take all of Elon Musk's money and connections and stuff away, he would probably become financially free fairly quickly because he has the skill of building businesses and assets. I think with me, I have less of a skill of building businesses and assets than Elon Musk does, but I've been trying to make money on the internet and building businesses for about 15 years of my life now. So I would say I have the skill. So if I were to lose all of my money and all my clout and all my fame and my YouTube channel and everything, I suspect within a year, I would probably be able to get to a point of financial freedom because I have the skill of building assets and businesses that I've developed over the last 15 years. Now, given that this is a skill, I think this is one key important thing to keep in mind, that a lot of people who aspire to financial freedom just don't appreciate that the skill of building these assets is a skill. And like all skills, skills can be learned. And so really bad habit number 1 is the habit of ignorance, where you A, don't recognize that it is a skill to build assets and businesses to get to financial freedom. And B, even if you do realize that, you're just not putting in the time to absorb the stuff that will give you a sense of what this map is. But one good financial habit that you can start right now is investing, and you might want to manage it with a service like Trading 212, who are very kindly sponsoring this video. Trading 212.
The habit of ignorance, y'all. That is the biggest. I know that's the biggest thing holding a lot of us back. That's the biggest thing holding a lot of us back is the ignorance. Y'all don't know. You don't know what you don't know. That's the biggest thing holding us back. And you know how I know? Because we did a video probably 2 weeks ago that showed why people in the U.S. have no financial literacy. They don't teach it in schools. Or you didn't learn it in school. They just now starting to try to teach it back in schools. But you're not trying to learn it. They didn't teach it in school. Now you at your adult age and you're not even trying to learn it. That's the biggest habit keeping us back. Oh, number 1, the habit of ignorance. Ignorant to financial literacy. You don't know. You are without that. But you're not even seeking it. The biggest habit holding you back. So, Steve, how do I figure this stuff out? Well, thanks for asking. Go get a book. It's free in books. Books ain't free. Books ain't free, but it's a lot of it in books. And a lot of the books that I've read were free. I got them on YouTube. Go look up some stuff on YouTube. And as you start down that journey, as you start going down the hole, you will find out more things that you can go learn. Oh, let me go learn something about the Fed system. How's that created? Okay. Now I see where my money comes from and why it's created out of thin air at this point. Why it's not backed up by anything at this point. But if you aren't seeking the knowledge, you will never have it. Habit number 1 is the habit of ignorance. And you only got that because you're not seeking. Let's begin to seek, y'all.
Description, and that will take you to this page where you'll be guided on how to sign up for an account. Get back to it. So how do you learn about the skill? Well, you carve out time in your day to read books, to listen to audiobooks, to listen to podcasts, to watch YouTube videos about building that skill of building businesses. On my podcast,
You literally just said what I told y'all. You need to go out there and look it up. Start putting in the time for it. That's literally why I started this YouTube. Because I have this, I'm like, if I'm going to be, this YouTube gives me time to talk about it. Which means now I need to start doing some research so that I know what I'm talking about. I'm just not on here rambling all the time. So I picked up a book and said, hey, I'll just document my journey. Why not? Just document the journey. But you have to create some time so that you can start learning this stuff.
Because, for example, there's a bunch of videos I've done with other entrepreneurs where they break down the exact methods they used to grow multi-million-dollar businesses and to become financially free. Similarly, there are a bunch of books. There's $1 Million Weekend by Noah Kagan. There's Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. There's Cody Sanchez has an ebook coming out that's very good. That's Make Epic Money by Ankur Warikoo. Just looking around at my like there's .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. There's anything by Alex Hormozy. There are literally hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of business books out there.
Millions.
Lots of them are on Audible. You can listen to them in audiobook format. How many of those have you read? If you're like most people I speak to about financial freedom, the answer is probably not very many. I'd say maybe about 80% of people don't really read enough or listen enough or watch enough stuff about building the skill
Not
of building
speaking
businesses.
it.
Oh, by the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, you might like to check out my book, Feel Good Productivity. It's about how to do more of what matters to you
Nothing
in a way
wrong with
that's
doing a little
enjoyable,
plug every now and
meaningful,
then
and
for yourself.
sustainable. And a big part of this journey to financial freedom is finding the time and energy to actually do the things that will help us on our route to financial freedom. So you can check this out. It's on Kindle, it's on Audible, it's on a hardback. You can listen to it in the car in your spare time. I hope you'll get some value from it. And so at this point, some people might be saying that like, okay, well, it's a skill, but you can't get the skill just from learning about it. And yes, that's true. You cannot just get the skill by just listening and learning and reading and all that kind of stuff. You have to take action as well. But essentially what the learning does is that it gives you a firmware update in your own mind. It lets you see what the map looks like. It's like, imagine you're navigating a forest and the destination you're trying to get to is this destination of financial freedom. But it's like this dark forest and there's a lot of fog and you don't know what's going on. You don't know what the map to that destination looks like. But when you listen to podcasts where entrepreneurs who have made millions of dollars are breaking down exactly the path that they followed, it's like, oh, okay, that's one route to financial freedom. You would listen to another podcast where someone breaks down how they built a ghostwriting agency to get to $1 million a year. You're like, oh, okay, there's another path. You would watch a YouTube video where someone like me talks about how I got to financial freedom through the vehicle of a YouTube channel. And that's another path. And the more you read and listen to and absorb this sort of stuff, the more you'll realize that the pathway from where you are right now to where you want to be, which is probably financial freedom if you're watching this video, you'll realize that, oh, there's all of these different paths to getting there. And then you can decide which of these paths do I want to take action on. You don't need to know what are 100 different paths to get to financial freedom, but it's useful to appreciate maybe like 10. What are 10 different ways where you could theoretically start from where you are right now and get to the goal of financial freedom within a time frame that seems reasonable to you? And you do that by reading, by listening to, by watching stuff. And once you have those 10, at that point, you can move on to habit number 2.
Before habit number 2, y'all, number 1 is literally the ignorance. The ignorance. Read, listen, start to gain that knowledge so that you're not in the same position a year from now. Let's get on that to habit number 2.
A time frame that seems reasonable to you. And you do that by reading, by listening to, by watching stuff. And once you have those 10, at that point, you can move on to habit number 2, which is we've talked about how you can get a sense of what this map is based on the learning. But bad habit number 2 is where even when you do have a sense of what this map is, you decide to stay exactly where you are and you don't decide to go on this journey. You don't take action. Bad habit number 2 is the habit of inaction. There are a lot of people I know who aspire to financial freedom who don't do any learning about it at all. But then there's also quite a lot of people who do aspire to financial freedom, but who are stuck in this sort of paradox of just consistently consuming content and never actually taking any action. Maybe you're in that boat. If you're watching this video, maybe you've seen all of my videos about financial freedom. Maybe you've listened to my podcast. Maybe you've read these books that I've mentioned. Maybe you've been watching every video that Alex Hormozi has ever put out. But maybe you haven't actually taken that first step to trying to make your first dollar on the internet. Maybe you're not carving out the time to actually take action on the thing. Now, how do you do that? How do you do that if you're busy, if maybe you're a student and you've got stuff to do in the day, maybe you've got a full-time job, so you have stuff to do during the day. Maybe you're a parent, you've got kids, so you've got stuff to do during the day and like not even during the day. Firstly, it's important to realize that almost
habit number 2 is another big one. He is hitting off the muscle. After you've gotten over the ignorance, so you know, habit number 2 comes in, the habit of inaction. Once you know this stuff, there has to come a time where you stop consuming and start applying. There has to be. I remember I'm reading, y'all. I'm reading, I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm like, yo, I'm consuming so much that I'm not even applying anything that I've learned from these books. And that's when I made that video, stop consuming and start applying. Talking to myself, but hey, anybody can take from that. Anybody can take from it. So what did I do? I started implementing some systems so that I could start implementing those principles that I got from reading into my life. Started creating the systems around it. That way it's just happening on autopilot. Because yeah, I just read create a budget. Yeah, I just read it. But did I create that budget? Do I have a budget? I know that the basic step to get into financial freedom is having a budget so that I can see where my money's going. But I haven't sat down and created a budget yet. I had to stop consuming. What am I consuming for? I haven't even done what I learned in the first one. A lot of them say the same things. A lot of books say a lot of the same things. So let me stop doing all this consuming and actually start applying some of this stuff that I done learned. And once I started applying, I started seeing differences. Once I got over habit 1 of being ignorant and got over habit 2 of not having action, of only consuming and not applying, I started seeing some difference.
Everyone who ends up becoming financially free, very few of them got there by having a completely empty calendar, and they just had swaths and swaths of spare time, and that's how they were able to build that business. Mostly, I've interviewed probably hundreds of people at this point who are financially free. They were all busy. They all had life commitments, family commitments, job commitments, the whole shebang, and they found a way to build this asset or build this business, if they're going down the fast lane approach, in their spare time. So what might this look like? In the case of one of my friends, what he does is that he carves out Monday and Tuesday evening after work every week without fail to work on his YouTube channel and his courses business, because he has decided that YouTube channel plus selling a course is the vehicle that he wants to do to get to financial freedom. If a friend says, hey, do you want to hang out on Monday evening? He's like, nope, sorry, I'm busy that evening. He does Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to hang out with friends, but Monday and Tuesday evening is carved out for work on the YouTube channel and work on the course. Alternatively, you might decide that an hour every morning before work is the amount of time you are carving out to work on your dream of financial freedom. That is the time you are going to spend taking action. It's not the time you're spending learning the skill, because you can learn the skill while doing the laundry, while doing the washing, while commuting to work. You can listen to stuff, you can watch videos in those spare moments throughout the day, but it's those concerted hour-long at least blocks of time where you're actually taking action and actually trying to build the thing. So many people aspire to financial freedom. Very few people put in the time. Because if you look at someone's calendar and you see what they spend their time actually doing, for most people who aspire to financial freedom, you'll probably find that the calendar does not reflect this goal of financial freedom. And then finally, we come to bad habit number 3. And this is...
I do like that. I like that with ways that you don't have to be inactive is that you have to sit down and just start. Create some time each week so that you can start doing these things. I was having a conversation today with one of my bros, and he was trying to do some content creation stuff. And I asked him, like, bro, what's your timeline looking like? All this, all that. I felt like he was coming up with a whole bunch of excuses of why he don't have time. When I know, because I looked at the game yesterday, he was on the game playing the game. I said, man, you could have took an hour of that and did what you needed to do. You have to start a lot of this stuff. And when you just start, a lot of it will lay itself out. Just start by setting some time each week where you do this thing. I know, I'm not going to say now because I do a lot of traveling, but when I was in Sweden, I knew exactly what day, what time I'm going to do this show every single week while I was in Sweden. And I'll even go even further because the way Hartfelt Conversations is set up, shameless plug, go follow, subscribe, like some stuff on there, go comment on there. Hartfelt Conversations. We going live tomorrow, Thursday at 8 p.m. I record Heartfelt Conversations every week now for 27 weeks straight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. No matter where I'm at in the world. Because the way it's set up and I have people coming in to record with me on that podcast every week now, whether we're going live or we're just recording, so that I can post it on Friday. If I'm just recording, I'm post on Friday. But when we record that video, whether we're going live or not, 8 p.m. Eastern Time every single week, like clockwork. We know every single week that's when we're going to do that because we have it in our calendar. Y'all know how many times people go out on Thursday to hang out? Steve, you want to come? No, I can't. I got something to do that I do every single week. It's in my calendar. That's one way to fight your being inactive, is to put it in your calendar. And then you have to really just start on a lot of y'all stuff. A lot of y'all, you're inactive because you ain't start. You too scared to start. You know, did all this research on having a YouTube, but you ain't did nothing. You ain't started applying because you ain't just start. Now let's continue.
And then finally, we come to bad habit number 3. And this is a habit that I like to call environmental inertia. Inertia is sort of where you just let things happen as they're already happening. You're sort of operating with the default mode. Now, we've talked about how an important habit in getting to financial freedom is learning the skills and appreciating what the map looks like. We've talked about taking action. But there's a third aspect, which is intentionally designing your environment so that you're able to come into contact with people and with inspiration that will help you out on your journey. You know, one of the easiest ways to get to financial freedom, or rather to speed up your process in getting to financial freedom, is to surround yourself with people who are also on that journey. Now, these people might be exactly where you are on that journey. They might be a couple of steps in front of you. They might be a couple of steps behind you. But if you have friends, colleagues, relatives, a network, if you have people around you who are also on the journey to financial freedom, you're all more likely to make it because you all benefit from this compounding effect of the people that we have around us. People around us give us a lot of energy. It means that when motivation dips, which it always does on this journey to financial freedom, it's not really a straight line. It's more like a sine wave where motivation waxes and wanes. In those moments where you're feeling down, where your business isn't working, you just got rejected from a sales call that you did, your YouTube video absolutely flopped, no one bought your course, all of that stuff, you have people around you who understand. They get the journey that you're on. If all of the friends that you have are people who have normal jobs and who do not aspire to financial freedom, chances are you will find it very difficult to go on that journey on your own. It is a lot easier to go on that journey when you're with other people. So environmental inertia is when you're not putting any effort into designing your environment. You're not putting any effort into going to events aimed at entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs. You're not putting any effort into going to classes. You're not putting any effort into going to meetups. You're not putting in any effort to reach out to people in your local area through Twitter or on Instagram who you might be able to send a cold message to be like, hey, you know, you're an entrepreneur. I am as well. I've checked out what you're doing. Would you like to grab coffee or lunch sometime? Creating this network of other entrepreneurs, other people trying to build assets and businesses on this fast lane to financial freedom, I think is one of the biggest things you can do to massively shortcut your process of getting there and to ensure that you don't allow the dips in motivation to completely stall your progress on this journey. Now, if you vibe with this video,
hey, I have a pretty good story, I think, when it comes to that. when I started on my journey, I literally had nobody in my close groups at all that was talking about any of this stuff, like at all. Didn't care about it. But it's like when I started and I started talking about it, I had someone who I was following, and it was a she. Like she was like on the same stuff, so she was talking about it, and we just would every now and then have conversations about what's going on, and different things that had to go in the financial space. And I would say that definitely kept me going a lot of times. Okay, yeah, it's cool. It's cool to have people who are doing the same thing with you. And one thing that I know it is Steve in the gym. That's why I got a little belly right now. When I was looking my best, I had people around me who were actually going to the gym with me. Like I actually had a gym partner that was going with me. And I've done this multiple occasions. When I was in wrestling, I'm wrestling with people, going with people. When I was in college, I had a pro fight. He was a trainer, used to train me. So I'm going to the gym with him all the time. When I got out of college and I'm at home, my brother, he came back. He was in the gym and I was going with one of my partners. We was all going at the same time. But every time those groups had something going on, I was not in the gym anymore. And of course, I can't blame other people, but having that environment that helps of people who are in your corner that helps motivate you, it definitely makes a difference. It definitely makes a difference. So having that as the third one, the habit of your environment, Abdul Ali, you did your thing on this list. You did your thing. Just, I'm not even going to say just with the first, all three of them, you did your thing. The first one, the ignorance. People don't even know about financial literacy. They have no idea. They have no interest in learning. And then after they've learned, the second one is inaction. You need to stop consuming and start applying. You need to start applying these principles into your life. And then the third one is the environment that you're in, having people on your side 100% makes a difference. 100% makes a difference. So I definitely want to say thank you, Ali, for that. You did your thing, man. You did your thing. And with that, make sure y'all like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Today was a great show for me. As y'all see, we only talked about the money, about getting to the moolah, chasing that bag, getting to it. I told y'all, hey, the political thing is something I really want to do on the side. I like talking about that money because that's actually the point in life that I'm doing. That's a lot of the stuff. I was trying to learn about the politics. That's why I added it in here. Like he said, you feel me? I added something that I'm trying to learn into the things that I'm already doing. That way I'm learning it. Come on, the habits is there. The habits is there. But as y'all see, we only talked about money today. With John Cena giving us some financial advice, he was hitting. Y'all are over leveraged. Need to bring it on in. All that bad debt you have, you need to bring it on in. That carry right on over to AO. My man AO telling you to cut up your credit cards. Because that's part of the reason you over leveraged. You got too much credit card debt that you don't need. You don't need it. Need to get out of that credit card debt. And then we ended it off with habits that are holding you back from reaching your financial literacy, ignorance, inaction in your environment. Hey y'all, on your way out the door, some quick shameless plugs. Make sure that you catch us on Thursday, this Thursday coming up, that's tomorrow, August 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Hartfelt Conversations, where we are going live. Also, make sure you are checking out Steve versus the World. I just came back from Europe, so y'all know there's videos being posted over there. The Rome one just went up this week, and I will have the Greece one coming later on. So make sure y'all tap in all my travel adventures. over there on Steve versus the World. On your way out, make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank y'all for watching. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Peace, love, and riches. I'm out. Yes, sir.